Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving right into the everyday magic of light to uncover the absolutely fascinating physics behind what you see, quite literally, every single day. I'm so thrilled we're doing this because, let's be honest, light is one of those things we just entirely take for granted. Yet, it follows these incredibly strict, elegant rules that dictate how we interact with the entire world around us. So, get comfortable, keep your eyes focused, and let's illuminate this topic together.
To kick things off, I want you to think about the everyday optical glitches happening all around us. Like when you look at a perfectly mirrored tree on a calm lake and wonder, how on earth is that image so crisp? Or consider this absolute classic. Why does a perfectly straight pencil look broken or kind of bent when you drop it into a glass of water? It's not magic, and there's no way it's just a trick of your mind. It is pure, unadulterated physics.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The magic of light. 2. Bouncing back, reflection laws. 3. Specular versus diffuse reflection. 4. Bending through, refraction laws. And 5. Comparing reflection and refraction.
Let's start with Section 1, the magic of light.
Okay, before we can even talk about light bouncing off mirrors or bending through water glasses, we absolutely have to establish a baseline. Whenever light hits a surface, we've got to talk about the normal. The normal is an imaginary perpendicular line that acts as a reference point for light rays. You can think of the normal as our invisible referee on the field. It stands perfectly straight up, right at a 90-degree angle to whatever surface the light is hitting. Whether that surface is a flat mirror or a wavy pool of water, this imaginary referee strictly dictates how light must behave and gives us a concrete way to measure its angles. Keep this referee in the back of your mind because we're going to be relying on it a lot.
Section 2. Bouncing back. Reflection laws.
All right, now that we have our referee in place, let's look at the rules of the bounce, which is officially known as reflection. Reflection happens when light rays strike a surface and bounce right back into the exact same medium they came from. Now, the anatomy of this bounce is simple, but it's totally fundamental. First, you have the incoming light, which we officially call the incident ray. Think of this as the light traveling straight from the source, like a flashlight or the sun. Then you have the light that strikes the surface and bounces away, and that's our reflected ray.
Which brings us right to the first law of reflection. Remember our invisible referee, the normal line? Well, the first law states that the angle of incidence exactly equals the angle of reflection. In physics shorthand, I equals R. Our invisible referee enforces this law perfectly every single time. It means the exact angle the incident ray comes in at, when you measure it against that normal line, will always perfectly match the exact angle the reflected ray bounces off at. It is absolute perfect symmetry.
And just to keep things incredibly organized in the universe, we also have the second law of reflection. This law dictates that the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal all lie in the exact same plane. Basically, this just means that the bounce doesn't happen in some chaotic 3D scatter. The incoming ray, the outgoing ray, and a referee line all exist neatly together on the exact same two-dimensional flat plane. It's highly structured.
Moving on to Section 3, specular versus diffuse reflection.
Now you might be wondering, if the rules of the bounce are so perfectly symmetrical and strictly enforced, why doesn't a blank piece of white paper look like a mirror? Well, it all comes down to the surface itself. Notice the difference between specular and diffuse reflection here. Specular reflection happens on perfectly smooth surfaces, like mirrors. Because the surface is uniformly flat, all those incoming parallel incident rays hit it, and their reflected rays all bounce off totally parallel to one another. That's what creates a perfectly clear image. But then, consider diffuse reflection. Even though a piece of paper looks flat to our naked eye, at a microscopic level, it's actually incredibly rough and bumpy. So when parallel light rays hit those microscopic bumps, they're individual normal lines pointing in all sorts of different directions. The light still perfectly follows the I equals R rule for each tiny bump, but it scatters those reflected rays in a million different directions. So no clear image, just scattered light.
And this just brilliantly illustrates how we interact with these principles on a daily basis. You rely on these strict specular bouncing rules all the time. It's exactly what's happening when you're looking in a mirror and seeing your face clearly. It's the exact reason a calm lake surface creates those stunning, perfect inverted images of trees on the opposite shore. And from a practical, technological standpoint, it's the exact principle behind periscopes. Those are used in submarines to strategically bounce light down a tube, so sailors can safely view objects above the water while staying completely submerged.
Let's dive into Section 4, Bending Through, Refraction Laws.
Okay, we are now officially shifting gears from bouncing to bending. Refraction occurs when light actually passes right through from one material into another. And the most crucial point here is speed. Refraction happens because light literally changes its speed depending on the optical density of the material it's traveling through. Imagine you're running on a smooth paved road, and then suddenly you run straight into deep, thick mud. You are absolutely going to slow down. Well, light does the exact same thing when it moves from a less dense medium, like air, into a denser medium, like water.
So, let's look at exactly how this speed change affects the path of the light. When light hits a denser medium like water or glass, it slows down, and as a result, it physically bends toward our invisible referee, the normal line. Conversely, when it escapes from a dense medium and enters a raring medium, say moving from water back out into the air, it speeds up again, and as it speeds up, it bends away from the normal line.
Now, let's see how this builds into an actual mathematical constant. Because this bending isn't just random, wavy behavior. It is strictly governed by Snell's law, which elegantly states that the ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence to the sine of the angle of refraction is always a mathematical constant. Basically, this means that for any two specific materials, like air and water, the degree to which the light bends is entirely predictable and mathematically locked in.
And look at what this predictable bending allows us to experience and achieve in the real world. First of all, it completely solves the mystery we started with, the bent pencil illusion in water. The light traveling from the part of the pencil that's underwater actually slows down and bends when it hits the air before reaching your eye, causing your brain to misinterpret where the pencil actually is. But it goes way beyond fun party tricks. Atmospheric refraction bends starlight irregularly as it passes through the varying densities of Earth's atmosphere, which is precisely why stars appear to twinkle to us. And most importantly, we harness this exact math for human health. Eyeglasses are just precisely crafted lenses designed to bend incoming light to perfectly correct the specific refractive errors in human vision.
Finally, Section 5, Comparing Reflection and Refraction.
I want to make sure we clearly separate these two physical phenomena in your mind before we wrap up today. At a glance, the divide is super distinct. Looking at the light path, reflection bounces off a surface, while refraction passes right through it. For the medium, reflection dictates the light stays in the exact same medium, while refraction requires it to move into a completely different one. If you look at the speed of light, in reflection, the speed remains completely unchanged because the medium hasn't changed. But in refraction, the speed physically changes based on the new medium's optical density. And finally, the surface required for reflection is typically shiny, polished, or opaque. For refraction to occur, the surface has to be transparent or translucent. It's really the perfect summary of everything we've covered today.
To wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a mind bender. What happens if light bends so aggressively that it actually can't escape a dense medium at all? The light becomes completely trapped inside, bouncing endlessly off the internal walls in a phenomenon called total internal reflection. It is this exact incredible principle that allows light to travel thousands of miles through curved glass cables beneath our oceans. How exactly does trapped light power our entire global fiber optic internet? Well, that is a fascinating physics mystery for you to ponder until next time. Keep observing the light around you, and thanks so much for learning with me today.